What up, dogs? Tejbz here, and to the face. So, I just woke up. It's Saturday, and you might be watching this on a different day. I don't know. It's pretty early, and no, it's not. I actually slept until noon. Anyway, I see it quite often. I see, I get people asking like, what bitrate? How do you edit like some basic stuff in for YouTube? So I thought with that, some rendering settings for a couple of different applications that I find are the best, pretty much. So let's start out. I'm gonna start out on my Mac here with Final Cut 7, which is the shizzle, my nizzle, and then I'm gonna move to Sony Vegas, and I might also show you Premiere or Media Encoder, which I think is just the bomb on converting. Like if when I was like in LA uploading Call of Duty gameplay and the internet was shitty, Media Encoder is excellent on oh my god, I am gonna just not answer that. Media Encoder is the shit to make the file size really small. So let's go to your recording software. Starting out here on my Mac, I used iTV because it has more settings for exporting your files. So that's basically what I like to use it for. So you go to, this is like the basic one, it becomes an MP4 file. So you want to go to MOV video or Quicktime movie, and you want to go to alternatives or alternative as it's called in Sweden, and go to Apple ProRes, which is Final Cut's like favorite codec, I guess. You want to go to the current frame rate settings. If you have an Elgato, it can record in 720, it can record in 60 frames or 59.94. But now I recorded this in 1080, so I can't export it in 60 frames because for some reason I think that's just like a little bit too much. Press OK and go to audio and have it at linear, PCM, and 48, which is what it actually records in. I'm not sure why. Like CD discs and most songs, most like audio is on 41, but TV and stuff is on 48 kilohertz, which is the frequency of the audio, how much is updating. So the higher the better, but since it's recording in this one, it doesn't really matter. It's just like, it's stupid to export anything pretty much. So, and you press OK and save. But since this is YouTube, I already prepared a setting for this. So you want to go, all right, I have my cat background, and you want to take your clip, just drag and drop it. Now I have two of them here, and put it down on your timeline. And Final Cut 7 is the shizzle. Final Cut 10 is like QuickTime, or it's like iMovie, but even more stupid in my opinion. So Final Cut 7 is where I want to go. Press yes, and you can see here that the timeline is it's not unrendered. So if I put something else that is like an MP4 file here, you can see now that the timeline will be red. So if I try to play it, it will be unrendered, and I have to render it like again to make it be able to play in Final Cut while editing. So that's why ProRes, you never have to render anything on your timeline, which is excellent. And this is actually like a Waves almost record. It's just nuts. And when you want to upload this, say you added some commentary, you can actually do that in Final Cut, just like in Sony Vegas. You just go to voiceover and you have your loose snowball for some reason. And since it's occupied already recording on ScreenFlow, I can't record right now, but let's just add some voice. Blah, blah, blah. Oh shit, I haven't saved this. Blah, blah, blah. And it's counting down. I forgot about that. And blah, 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 blah. And you just have some audio, you drag it down here, and on Final Cut you just press Alt, and the entire clip will be marked. So when you want to export this thing to make it look beautiful on YouTube, you go to QuickTime Movie, Options, and here is where it gets interesting, like the fun part. So H.264 is something that YouTube like. It's a codec for a video file. It's not so the end of the video is gonna be .mov, which is QuickTime Movie. And the fastest way to do this, if you like, and the least demanding for your like Mac to actually render this, is to go to just the quality compressor and change it manually like this. If you have like something that you want to look super good, you can go to best. It's going to be really huge, and you're not going to be able to notice the difference unless you have, I don't know, like super good eyesight. So medium is fine. Current frames per second, since this is exported in 29 frames per second. As you can see, if you go to your timeline here, 29.97, that's going to be good for YouTube since it takes 30 and 25 frames per second. And compressor native, that's what you're watching in the screen right here. So you want to go and change to 720. Okay, and we already changed the go to medium. You can also restrict it. You can restrict it to 10,000 kilobytes per second, or kbits per sec, which is what YouTube will try to compress it to. It's gonna take longer to render, and if you have like one still frame of just black, it's still gonna be 1 megabyte of space, so it's not really needed. I like to have it VBR, which is variable bitrate, and go to medium and best quality multipass. We're gonna return to that in a bunch of different things, and you just press OK. Go to sound, AAC, which is also like probably the most common audio codec in the world. So 48, and you have stereo, and you can also up the bitrate if you want it to sound better at the audio, which is also like bitrate is basically how big of the file will be, how much memory it will take out. So, and you just press OK. And prepare for internet start is probably the most important one I see. You know, when you're uploading a video to YouTube and it says this video was not prepared for internet streaming, that's what you not have checked. If you're using like Quicktime 10, Final Cut 10, or iMovie or anything, it's not gonna have this option, which is pretty crucial. Like, it makes for the viewers, it's just gonna make it easier to watch if you have like a little better, a little worse internet. So you just press OK and guide movie how to whatever, and you just save it, and it's gonna start rendering. Boopy boop boop boop. But we're not gonna watch that. So let's go to one of my the favorite application, which is also the same compressor as you use if you were using, say, Premiere. So you take your clip, and I can take a MP4 file here. You drag it into the queue. And you can see like it instantly recognized the clip, and you want to change how it's going to come out. So you want to press now it says F4V, which I don't even know what it is. You want to drag it down like the little, I don't know, rullgardin, whatever it's called. Go to QuickTime, which is movie, or you can go to H.264, which is going to be an MP4 file, which is actually pretty good for YouTube as well. And you can go, there's a bunch of different options. I find that one of the best ones is actually to kind of go and change a little bit. So we had this one is going to be recorded in 25 frames because it's a different clip. It's me and Pappy just walking. You're going to be seeing more of that later. Change that one and go to video. You have a bunch of like filters. Gaussian blur makes everything blurry, so you've probably already done that in an editing application. And frame rate is 25, same as the source video, as you can see here. And so this is like a preset for YouTube, which I don't know, I would say it's kind of it's good, but you kind of want to change it a little bit. So render at maximum depth means that it's going to pass through the file twice pretty much, and you want to change it. So variable bitrate to pass means it's gonna pass through the file, as I said, twice, and you can just change the bitrate right here. So the maximum bitrate is how maximum of the size is going to be able to codec like a picture that needs a lot of information, and the target bitrate should be somewhere around like 5 to 10, and it's going to make the video like a really small file. And all you have to do when you're done that, it's going to say custom as your setting, and you just press play to start encoding that file, and you're gonna see Media Encoder is actually really fast. So I'm just gonna pause that and move on to my PC and do some Sony Vegas stuff. Alright, so now we're on my PC, and Sony Vegas, probably the most common application for making YouTube videos like ever, at least in the gaming scene. So this is what it looks like. This is Sony Vegas 12. It's excellent. It's pretty easy to use for most things. So let's put a clip here, which is recorded with DxTory, which is a whole different kind of instruction video. If you want me to do one of that, I will. So let's take a clip here, which is on my 2 TB hard drive, and I'm gonna drag and drop it into the media viewer file. And you can see it was processing a little bit, building the audio peaks, and drag it down to this timeline. And it's gonna ask you, Sony Vegas 12 is gonna ask you, do you want to set your project video settings to match this media? And you wanna say, fuck yes. And you have a clip. I have no clue, I just picked one. I might get some kills. Anyway, that's not really the importance of this video. And the first thing you do when you drag a clip into Sony Vegas is you right click it, disable sample rate, or else it's gonna move into like a fuzzy kind of weird, I don't know, it's not gonna look as good as it would have. And as you can see, the project settings is 1080p in 60 frames per second, not 59.94, which is quite important to notice that DxTory likes to record in 60 frames exactly. Which is going to come in handy when we're rendering this clip. And as you can see, I'm just going to make this one smaller. Oops. Why the heck did that? Alright, I'm looking like a noob. Alright, so you just drag it down there. And also, a little quick tip, if you want to make slow motion in Sony Vegas, you just split the clip, you press S, and you hold down Control, and you drag it out. And as you can see, it's going to be in 4 times as slow as the actual speed of the clip. So now we have that. And something that's really important, if you have recorded your clip in 720p and you try to record it in 10 or export it in 1080p, don't do that. It's just like a waste of time. You can't upscale like video. It's not gonna make any difference. I've seen it like a lot of times people recorded on their PC like 720p Battlefield, and they have rendered it in 1080p just because it looks, oh, it's gonna look better. Yeah, I wouldn't say so. So let's go to File. So we marked the parts that we wanna render out. So like with the little yellow things, you use drag and drop. I can do that wherever I want pretty much. And go to File, Render As. And you go to Tejbz, which is, you can't go to that. So you want to go to main concept AVC AAC star MP4 AVC, which is like a preset codec basically. And you find yourself the Internet HD 1080p and customize template. And you can see the frame size is gonna be HD 1080p blah 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 blah. And profile is main, and here is where it gets interesting. So the frame rate on the file, the clip is 60 frames per second. So, but the frame rate here says that you want to render it in 29.97. But if you do that, you're gonna drop out some frames, it's gonna miss. And if you take 60 frames and divide it by 2, that makes 30. So write 30 right there, and save, please. Come on, save. All right, there we go. Blah, blah, blah. All right, so I need to save this preset. Boobies. Misspelled. All right, so now you can see the frame rate is 30 frames per second, so that's half of 60, which is great. It's not gonna miss out on any frames or anything. And variable bitrate, bam, you have that marked, and make it 2-pass, so it analyzes the picture twice, so you don't get any like bitrate drops, or if it like takes a lot of bitrates to do it, like do something awesome that you've done, it's not gonna miss out on that. And maximum bitrate, you can have pretty much anything here. You can make it to like 1 billion, but the preset sets 24, which is a good one. And average bitrate is what it's gonna aim towards making the file, just as it did in Media Encoder. So bam, you can just like change this one. YouTube is gonna try to downgrade it to 10,000 bits per second. So, but if you want to make it look even more beautiful, the most beautiful as possible, you can put it like at 15, you can put it at 18, and it's gonna do good. And on Sony Vegas, you can use either CPU or CUDA, which I'm not really sure what it is, but I think it kind of passes through your graphics card as well. I can hear it when I'm rendering and stuff. So you can check if you can actually use CUDA by checking GPU. So I've checked that when I do that. So, and enable progressive download. That's what Sony Vegas calls fast start, pretty much, which is quite important. And here you can change the bitrate, and you can see that it's recorded in 48 kilohertz per second, and you want to have the same audio bitrate, like sample rate, and you can change the bitrate to a maximum of 320. I don't think anybody will notice the difference, since the audio is only recorded in 16 like bit flops or whatever. So that's pretty much how you do it, and you press OK, and you can browse where you want to save it. I'm just gonna save it in upload. Boobies. Fuck, I can't spell. Anyways, there we go. And save, and bam, you render that bad boy out. And as you can see, it's working pretty fast. So that's pretty much how you render for YouTube. Let me know if you want to see any other how-to guides here on my channel, because I am pretty awesome. This is probably like a hugely long video. I will see you guys soon. Peace out. Bye.